Caught Fingering at the Guesthouse, Book 3, written by Laura Vixen, narrated by T.K. Love. Alicia heard the sound of the car horn as she walked out of the gate, but in a large crowd of students on their way home after a day of college didn't realize it was aimed at her. As she walked away from the throng and moved into the relative quiet of a side street, the sound of the horn blared again, and this time it was right beside her. She turned to see the car tracking along the same pace as she was walking, and sensed a slight moment of panic. When she bent her head down to look, the panic disappeared to be replaced by a flash of desire as she recognized who was in the car. "They came to see me," she murmured under her breath as she took in the smiling faces of Lucas and Josie. It was 3 weeks since she visited their guest house with her parents, and the thrill of the sex shared with the older couple was suddenly at the forefront of her mind again. They'd originally caught her masturbating in her room and took full advantage by using her in a kinky threesome. It was the first of a few times they came together for sex over the weekend, and since she came back home, she thought about the time they spent together often. With her parents not planning any weekend trips that she knew of, Alicia guessed it would be a while before she got the chance to visit the guest house again, if at all. It looked like the couple was missing the sex as much as she was, and the smile spread across her face as she walked towards the car. "Hi, Alicia," Lucas said as she approached. The 18-year-old girl squatted down at the side of the vehicle and rested her arms on the open window. "Hi," she replied, and a cheeky grin spread across her face. "Just passing through, are you?" "You could say that," Josie chipped in. "On the other hand, we might have come just to see you." The shiver trickled down the back of Alicia's neck at the thought that they came to town on a mission to see her. It was sexy to know that they missed her so much, and she looked around as Lucas put his hand on top of hers. "Do you need a ride home?" he asked. Alicia could see that the side street was fairly empty as she surveyed it, so she turned her attention back to the man in the car. "It's not that far for me to walk," she teased. "Yeah, but sitting in the back of our car will make it an even easier journey for you," he shot back. I'm not so sure I would be safe in the back of your car," she continued to tease. "Well, I'm driving, so can't do anything," he replied. "Can't speak for my wife, though." As soon as the words were out of his mouth, Josie got out of the front passenger side door and moved to the back seat of the vehicle. A flash of excitement ran through Alicia as she watched, and she immediately stood up. She guessed that she might not be safe from the attentions of the older woman as she moved to open the back door of the car and got in. The sight of Josie's skirt caught her attention straight away. It was short and hitched high up the smooth thighs to almost put panties on view. "Do you need to go home right away?" Josie said with a grin. Alicia lifted her gaze from the gorgeous legs and shook her head. "No, I could tell my parents I was doing coursework in the college library." "Nice," Josie went on, and the grin spread wide across her face. "Maybe we could take the long route to your home then." Alicia's pulse was racing as the car pulled away from the curb, and Lucas quickly had the vehicle speeding along the highway. "Where are we going?" she asked. Josie slid forward on the seat, and her little yellow panties did come into view. "Have you ever played outside? In public?" "What?" Alicia asked as her nerves suddenly kicked in. Josie laughed as she reached for the young girl's hand and pulled it to her thigh. A shiver made Alicia tremble as her fingertips grazed on the smooth skin. "It's a real rush to know that you might get caught," Josie went on. She closed her eyes as she stroked the fingertips high on her leg. "You've done it before?" Alicia asked. Josie opened her eyes and nodded her head. "Yes," she said. "We fucked outdoors before, but never with a pretty girl like you. Will you do it?" Alicia tensed in anticipation as her fingers reached the edge of the yellow panties. "Yes," she agreed, and her excitement mounted at the prospect of what she was about to do. Her gaze dropped to watch as her fingertips stroked on the soft material of Josie's panties. She could feel the slight dampness on them and pulled her hand free of the tight grip to trace her fingertips along the pussy crease showing through the material. By the time the journey ended, the panties were soaked and Josie was breathing heavily as her body came alive. Alicia looked around as the car slowed down and finally came to a stop. She recognized the picnic area on the edge of town as one her parents brought her to when she was young. The sight of a few people sitting at the tables in the last of the evening sunshine made her pull her hand from between Josie's thighs. "How do you know this place?" she asked. Josie sat up, and her voice was a little breathless as she spoke. "We stopped on the way into town and had something to eat here. It was
Sample complete. Ready to continue?